Today's film is the 2023 zombie thriller Herd. A mysterious virus spreads rapidly across the state of Missouri. The governor's office quickly steps in to reassure the public and downplay the threat, causing most people to let their guard down. But not everyone was fooled. One man sensed something was wrong and immediately called his friends to form a team to defend their home. But even he couldn't escape the zombies' attack. The woman who made that call was Jamie, his daughter. Years ago, a fight with her father over her marriage led her to leave home. She never imagined that goodbye would be their last. This is Alex, Jamie's girlfriend. Their relationship had hit a rough patch, and Alex suggested a trip, hoping the journey might help ease the tension between them. Jamie reluctantly agreed, though she didn't really want to go. The radio was reporting new updates on the virus, and infection numbers were climbing every day. But Alex didn't care about any of that. In the end, they set out on this harrowing journey. They drifted downstream in a small boat. As familiar scenery passed by, Jamie was overwhelmed. It was the closest she'd been to home in years. She missed her father deeply, yet she also resented him. And without realizing it, they were drifting closer and closer to danger. Late at night, Jamie sat alone by the river, lost in thought. She remembered the day she met Alex. It was love at first sight, and they quickly began their life together. Though she never had her father's blessing, Jamie was happy until tragedy struck. After their daughter died from illness, something in Jamie's heart began to shift. From then on, their relationship began to fall apart. Days of travel did nothing to heal the rift. Jamie's cold words cut into Alex like a knife. Angry, Alex stood up without thinking, and the boat flipped over. They both fell into the water, and Alex's leg got caught in a tree branch. Though their lives weren't in immediate danger, Alex's lower leg was broken, and blood poured out non-stop. If this continued, she would die from blood loss. Just then, a figure appeared ahead. Jamie felt a flicker of hope, but she didn't notice the way the man staggered as he approached. At that moment, a red pickup truck pulled up. Exhausted, Jamie finally let her guard down. But what happened next left her frozen in fear. The man got out and without a word shot the approaching figure. Then he turned the gun on them. Jamie used all her strength to carry Alex and run into the distance. Panicked and desperate, they found an RV parked by the roadside. Jamie opened the door, hoping for help, but a corpse suddenly appeared. At the same time, the man had caught up to them. As Jamie begged him to spare them, another figure arrived. This man was John, the leader of a local group of survivors. He also happened to be a friend of Jamie's father, though the two of them had never met.
Jamie Miller, it's Bernie. We went to junior high together. That's Jamie Miller, Robert's daughter.
Although Jamie couldn't recall anything about Bernie from her memory, thankfully, he was the one who diffused the crisis in front of them. Just as Bernie was about to tell Jamie her father had passed, John stopped him. Now wasn't the time. What mattered most was getting Alex treated. Jamie asked John to take them to a hospital, but he refused. Hospitals had become ground zero for the outbreak. Instead, John brought them to a veterinary clinic in town. Though animals and humans are different, setting a bone was something a vet could still manage. Not long after, Jamie overheard a conversation between John and Bernie. They planned to take all the medicine from the clinic. They made it sound noble, but to Jamie, who felt like an outsider, it didn't matter. On the news, the governor assured citizens that the National Guard had been deployed. He asked everyone to cooperate with evacuation and protection efforts. At that moment, Jamie realized just how serious things had become. She tried calling her father again, but got only voicemail. Suddenly, a staggering figure opened the clinic door. Luckily, it was drawn away by the sound coming from the TV. Meanwhile, unaware of the danger, John and the others were arguing about supplies. John wanted Louis, the veterinarian, to join their group. After all, in times like this, Louis was still a doctor, but Louis only wanted to stay home. Just then, Jamie burst out from the building. Though they quickly ducked into hiding, the infected heard the noise and were soon closing in. Even now, Louis refused to leave with them. John didn't push further. After all, they already had the medicine. As they were loading Alex into the truck, Bernie spotted an infected target and took aim. But just as he was about to fire, John stopped him. The gunshot rang out anyway, drawing the infected straight toward them. Jamie's first instinct wasn't to run, but to leap onto the truck and shield Alex. But she failed. After a desperate struggle, she finally managed to climb aboard. But when the terrifying face of the infected appeared once again, Jamie was frozen, unable to react, forced to watch helplessly as it grabbed Alex's hand. At the last second, a bullet tore through the infected's brain. John had returned. Not long after Jamie and the others left, the National Guard arrived in town. Their leader was a man named Sterling. They raided every store in the area, claiming it was for centralized control. This forced John and his group to arm themselves for protection. Compared to the zombies, these soldiers were far more dangerous. That's why Louis had refused to join them in the first place. Now that all the medicine had been taken by John's group, Louis was no longer of use. The next morning, John brought Jamie and the others back to their base, her father's old warehouse. After settling Alex in, Jamie went to find John. Her father was inside, but he would never be able to yell at her again. At that moment, Jamie remembered the day her mother passed, but she could no longer recall her mother's face. Old, painful memories slowly resurfaced, and Jamie finally had the courage to say the words she'd held back for years, even if there was no one left to answer. She had rehearsed the moment in her mind countless times, only to discover that the person she wanted to speak to had already left the stage. It broke her. She let out all her anger and regret, but her father could no longer hear her. To make matters worse, warts had begun to grow all over the hand that Alex had been grabbed by. It was clear she had been infected. Terrified, Alex wanted to tell the others, but Jamie stopped her. That night, the shelter held a grand feast. After the meal, John, the leader, stepped up. His speech was powerful. It stirred everyone's spirits, earning wave after wave of applause. But there are always some unwelcome people who show up at the most critical moments. Sterling from the National Guard arrived. Tension filled the room. If a battle broke out, the losses would be heavy on both sides. Still, they couldn't back down. Giving up now meant losing the fragile peace they had built. Bernie, who had been assigned to guard the back door, gave that responsibility to a young boy named Andrew. He ran to the front instead, because he believed that's where the real fight was. Sterling's demand was simple: hand over all the medicine. But that clearly wasn't going to happen. The tension escalated. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out from inside the warehouse. Heavily armed soldiers stormed in, and a violent shootout began. Elsewhere, Jamie shielded a defenseless woman. They were both unarmed. She pleaded with the soldiers not to hurt innocent people. Her words made one of the men hesitate in shame. But just as he lowered his gun, the woman behind Jamie pulled out a weapon and shot him dead. Everything happened so fast, Jamie couldn't even process it. Looking at the cold body on the ground, Jamie questioned whether what she had done was right or wrong, especially after seeing the gleam in Bernie's eyes and hearing the others scold Andrew for not pulling the trigger. Seeing Andrew's fear, John told him, "Everyone is afraid sometimes, but there are moments in life when you have to do things you don't want to do." And when that time comes, he hoped Andrew would choose to do what had to be done. Andrew's mother had already been infected. Until now, Jamie had no idea how John's group dealt with the infected, but in that moment, she understood. If they found out about Alex, the same fate would await her. So, late that night, after everyone had gone to rest, Jamie quietly stole the keys to the RV. They had to leave, get back to the city, but they were spotted by Andrew, who had just lost his mother. Feeling sorry for the boy, Jamie offered to take him with them. But the next second, Andrew blew his whistle. Jamie hurriedly started the RV and drove off, desperate to escape no matter what. But the vehicle stalled not far down the road. Jamie cried out for help, hoping someone would come, but reality was cruel. No one came. Soon after, John and the others caught up. He promised Jamie that if she put down the weapon, he would personally drive them anywhere they wanted to go. But just as they reached an agreement, a gunshot shattered the silence. Bernie and the others refused to accept John's decision. To them, anyone infected had to die. Otherwise, the virus would spread again. And then, Sterling appeared once more. After multiple clashes, it was clear this conflict had become a fight to the death. A bullet ripped through Alex's body. It was the signal. The battle had begun. Gunfire echoed through the night sky. With John's help, Jamie carried Alex into a nearby alley. But before they could catch their breath, a chorus of growls rang out. The gunfire had drawn a horde of infected. Jamie wanted to fight back, but was stopped by the dying Alex. They just stared tensely at the infected. After confirming that the two women had no intention of attacking, the infected slowly moved forward and walked away. Just as Alex's life was nearing its end, the sound of helicopter blades roared through the sky. Soon after, Alex was out of danger. The battle between John and Sterling came to an end. John had fallen into a coma, left in a vegetative state, and during interrogation, his assistant placed all the blame on him. A few days later, Jamie and Alex returned to the home they once filled with happiness. Thanks to early detection and medical breakthroughs, Alex's infection was cured. That short but harrowing journey had changed how they saw life. Jamie had finally learned a truth. Never wait until the person you care about most is gone to start cherishing them.